Once you see it, you can't unsee it.
Yeah.
And then it's everywhere. And then you see how many people are working on it, how many smart people are working on small parts. Those guys there are doing DeFi. Those guys there are doing Bitcoin. Those guys there are doing NFTs. Those people there are doing social tokens. Those guys are trying to solve wallets. You know, it's incredible. The power of this distributed network of intelligent people all building towards the same goal of this new financial system and the new internet of value. It's amazing. So, you know, I've been toying with the idea. I first started thinking about, can we earn a universal basic income in this new digital world? And we're seeing it in things like Axie Infinity, right? There's ways you can earn a living by working for a community and getting paid in tokens or fiat. But what I'm getting really interested in is the concept of universal basic equity. So you like Rihanna and you want to be part of Rihanna's community. You identify with Rihanna as a pop star and the culture that's around her. And now you can own one day a token of that network. So now you're incentivized to help Rihanna's network grow. And with that, your token will go up in value. It's Metcalfe's law, that's how you price networks, the number of nodes on the network and the interconnection between them all. So everybody's now incentivized to help that network grow in value, i.e. to make Rihanna's community bigger and more vibrant. And just by being in culture, you have an asset that goes up. So now you're not having to go into an office and work for somebody. You're working for a cultural phenomenon. And that as universal basic equity is amazing. It can be around a fashion brand, it can be around a sports team. You know, imagine that around a sports team in Brazil. So imagine if you tokenize that, now you're incentivized to grow the community of one of the leading Brazilian clubs. And you want to make it international, and you start making video content about it, you're on Twitter, you're creating a more vibrant community, and people can see that and they want to be part of that community too, and therefore the value of that community appreciates. Now maybe, you know, because it's like-minded people, a bunch of those token holders get together, create an NFT, and then create a business off the back of it, selling new footballs because somebody's come up with an idea. And before you know it, you're building network effect on top of network effect. And that is extraordinary around culture. That was not possible before.
Many companies are talking about the metaverse these days. And do you think that NFTs and games could be like a key element for bringing a mass adoption to the crypto market the next year, probably? And how much do you think the market can grow when these newcomers come to the crypto market?
So the metaverse is not a single destination. It is the increasing digitalization of our lives. So right here we are now. I'm in the Cayman Islands. You guys are in Brazil. This is basically a metaverse experience. This is a digital experience that did not exist 5-6 years ago. So, and we now take it for granted. So there's a lot of people, like half of the entire staff at Real Vision, I've never met in person, because of this new metaverse. Distributed workplaces are basically metaverse experiences. So everything is being digitized. The acceleration of that digitization is the metaverse. So when we live in this increasingly digital world, then it becomes increasingly difficult for me to exchange value with you until we've built out this blockchain infrastructure that allows us to exchange value digitally, instantaneously around the world. And it's a network that nobody owns. So, you know, that is a great thing, but it's the consumer application that's going to come, and NFTs were the first sight of a consumer application. They're still very geeky. It's still a crappy environment. The wallets are still impossible. Most people don't understand why you want to own a stupid picture of a monkey. You know, none of this really makes sense. The art market was a little more understandable. But, you know, my guess is once large communities of culture, so music and sports predominantly, and probably fashion, those three are probably the largest cultural influences in the world. Once they start adopting it, which is happening at NFT level, but I think it's also going to happen at social tokens level, then we will all understand what it means to have the Web3 idea of a stake in a network. And that's the game changer. And we won't think of it as a cryptocurrency or whatever thing. It's like you're participating in that network. It's much like if we'd had all been given shares in Facebook when Facebook launched, we would have all participated in that network. We didn't though. Everybody fears change, right? That's just a human thing. And the rate of change here is extremely fast. So the gamers were a distinct group of people that had their little world and they knew how it worked. This other world has walked into their world and said, hey, we can bring value where you can move this stuff across games and you can own your things. They're like, back off, this is ours. And it's the same that Jack Dorsey's having with...
Also Discord integrating.
All of these things is people fearing change. You know, Jack Dorsey's like, well, I don't want this Web3 thing. I just want Bitcoin. And, you know, the Ethereum guys are like, we don't want Solana and Terra and Avalanche. Everybody fears change. You know, the traditional media fears change. The banking industry fears change. When change is happening so fast, and it's not being driven by one entity, it's this broadly spread phenomena, it's scary because you don't feel in control. Yeah. So I think the gamers feel the same way. Somebody's walked into their world and told them that they can change it. And they're like, no, but you can't put the genie back in the bottle. Yeah. The idea is, without going into the 2 hours of history and everything within this, is our monetary system and system of value is broken. The ownership and the monopolies that control a lot of this are something that most people have become uncomfortable with. And here we have a new world, this digital world that is distributed, that has less intermediaries. And it's a world where we can create endless GDP because you're not constrained by natural resources, you know? So here we go in a new digital world where you can create digital sovereign states of which you can operate in as a Brazilian that has nothing to do with the Brazilian economy. And it's limitless. There's no boundary. So that's why it becomes the new universe. Here we are walking away from an old broken system, which is Brazil 1.0. And here you are walking into world 2.0. You're not constrained as a Brazilian. I'm not constrained because I'm in the Cayman Islands. So we can build businesses like you guys are, which exist everywhere. And again, you know, we're showing that here today. Well, I'm in the Cayman Islands, you're in Brazil. We're doing this in English. It'll be translated in Portuguese. And what we're doing is creating a globalized piece of content. I mean, it's really interesting. Those things were not easy to do before. Now it's almost frictionless. The fact that we're in different countries is frictionless. We have no issues whatsoever. I believe it's like discovering the Americas all over again. You think the world is this, and then suddenly it's this.
It's really exciting.
Yeah, and that's very exciting. That's why most of us are excited. We have big grins on our faces. We're exhausted from working so hard, but everybody's smiling. Yeah, most people don't understand this because they haven't seen it. And they think it's not possible and it's not going to work. They just haven't seen it yet, but it's coming. I mean, I'm working on a project on this, and I know several other people are. There's some small social token things. We're starting to see NFTs as social tokens developing as well. But I think this is where the big consumer application is going to come from.